Okay, so we're halfway through the Premiership season, and we've had some exciting games in the last weekend. I'm not today on Game On for this week's podcast and show. I want to introduce my buddies who are also on the call with me to talk about everything about the Premier League and also, what we're going to be looking forward to an exciting number of games today. So first of all, let me introduce my buddy here, Festus, all the way from the US, who's connected to the show. Festus, how are you doing today?
I'm okay, Eddie. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here always to talk football with my friends in a relaxed atmosphere. Welcome, everybody. You're welcome to Game On.
Absolutely, Faith. I'm also here today with my friend, Femi. He's returning to the show. We've missed him. So Femi, welcome back to the show. And how are you doing?
Yeah, Eddie, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on the show with you guys. And what an absolute pleasure it is to be able to return today. So, Eddie, great to be back on the show. And what a day as well to honor the memory of Pele.
Welcome back, Femi, and absolutely correct. Those tributes really resound, and you're absolutely right. And speaking of living on, let's talk about the Premier League. Everton has had a really bad run of games in the last couple of days. Even before the World Cup, they just cannot seem to buy a win. Everton are in dire straits. Frank Lampard must be thinking, what do I do to actually generate a spark in this team? Now, they have no favors coming towards them because they are playing Man City, and Man City had an incredible return back to the Premier League against. So, Femi, I'm going to start with you. Man City, have shown that there was no impact to the World Cup. Can they overtake Arsenal in the race to the Premier League?
Well, I think you probably want to look at it from the Everton perspective first. Will they beat Everton? It looks like it's an absolute foregone conclusion because Everton have been absolutely dire, like you said. I mean, the last positive result they got was against Fulham 0-0. Since then, they've lost even to Bournemouth by 3-0 before the World Cup started. So if you're losing every week to ordinary teams, especially you're losing to Bournemouth, and then they lost to Wolves. Although that was very unfortunate. I already have them down to lose to Man City, and City will gain confidence from it
for the game.
But also, if you Man City Everton, only one way there. I see a 3-0 victory for City. Haaland with 2 goals again, and maybe someone else in the team to chip in the extra goal.
So 3-0 victory to Man City. Festus, I'm going to come to you. How do you see this game shaping up? Do Everton have a chance to compete with Man City?
For me, the match between City and Everton can only go one way, one straight way, and it's a clear win for City. Meanwhile, let me dish out some statistics. I know Kale used to say, Festus, you're Mr. Statistics. For both of these teams, the bookmakers, the win probability, actually, they predicted a Man City win of 88% and an Everton win of 3% and a draw of 9%. So that tells you how this is expected to go, only one way. Secondly, the last 5 matches between these teams, Man City has actually won 5 of the games, with the last match being a Premier League in February, where they won at Everton 3-1. And Everton has not taken anything from City in the last 5 matches. So it is a clear statement how both teams, where they are currently, with Haaland being in a sensational form, with all the players still blazing, everybody fit. I think City has, Alvarez is coming back in January. So City actually still has a whole, a complete squad with all fit and all raring to go. I don't see this match going any other way. So it's unfortunate for Everton. Last match, they actually played well and unfortunately lost it at the end. but I still see them losing this match, and I predict a 4-0 victory.
No prayer for Everton. Kali, how do you see this game going? Man City have lost 2 games this season. Can they lose a third against Everton?
It's not going to happen, not in this world, not in the next life. And that's simply because morale is very low in the Everton camp right now. And you look at Everton and the way they've played so far this season. They've not looked like a team that inspires confidence in any way. They've lost more home games than any other team in 2022. That tells you how poor Everton has been. No matter what Lampard has tried with these guys, somehow it doesn't seem to get it right. The last game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, they were 1-0 leaders for a long time in the game. Eventually, it looked as if, okay, they will run away with a draw. Wolverhampton equalized, and it looked like, okay, the match was going to end in a draw. 5th minute of injury time, lack of concentration. They couldn't keep their lines. The discipline, they lost their shape, they lost the discipline. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have struggled for goals in recent times as well, also found a way to score the winner. And that's been the story of Everton most part of this season. And so Arsenal, and they'll be out for blood against Everton. Everton is one of those sides that they've not lost, like Festus ruled out in a few minutes ago. They've not lost to Everton. They've not even dropped a point against Everton in the last 5 games, and it's not going to start on Saturday when they go up against Everton. I'm actually predicting at least 5 goals in the game, and all 5 goals going to Manchester City. Haaland is in blistering form. That guy has scored in 11 competitive starts for Manchester City. He has scored 17 goals. So you guys need to be careful when I get like this in my predictions. You need to be very, very careful, because remember last week when I went all out, I told the Tottenham Hotspur and Brentford is going to end in a 2-2 draw. I didn't just predict the draw. I said 2-2 draw. At the time, you need to be careful. No. Did you see that last weekend I was on point? All my predictions.
Yes,
you didn't notice.
You were on point. You were on point, Kali.
I'm back. I've gone to the mountain and I'm back.
You were absolutely on point. It's a clean sweep for Man City. I worry for Everton. I'm predicting a 4-0 victory to Man City. Okay, let's turn our attentions to the tabletop leaders right now, which is Arsenal. Arsenal showed incredible resilience last week, to actually come back from a goal down against West Ham. I think, when the goal went in, everyone was thinking, oh, goodness, it's Arsenal, very rusty from the World Cup. But they turned around and they scored, 3 unreplied goals. But Arsenal have faced a team, Brighton, who are coming off a very, very good win last week. And Brighton are not an easy team to play. And as Arsenal are playing Brighton, at home in this game. So I'm going to start with you, Faith, on this game. So Brighton, Arsenal, what's your prediction? What do you think will be the difference in this game?
Eddie, I won't like to, this is a tricky match. Brighton is not the easiest of team to beat in their home turf. Let me reel out a bit of statistics also, so that you have an idea, at least the last 5 times we've met these guys. The last 5 matches we played with Brighton, we've both shared 2 wins. So that gives you an idea, and we had 1 draw. So across all competition, it gives you last 2 years how both teams has fared, and that tells you the quality of Brighton also. So and also when you look at the win probability by the bookmakers, they are giving Brighton 28%, they gave Arsenal 45%, and they are giving the draw of 27%. It gives you the balance also. So you could see there is a whole the gap, the win probability gap is not even much, which means the bookmakers are also looking at potentially this match ending in a draw. So for me, what is the prediction for this game? I see a slim victory for us now. I'm looking at a 2-1 or a 3-2.
So Arsenal has drawn 1 game this season, and that game was away from home at Southampton. And so, I do agree with you. Brighton is going to be a very, very difficult opposition. So I'm going to go to you, Kali. Arsenal has shown something this season, that they can get goals from a lot of players. And that was evident in the last game, where there were 3 different goal scorers. And Arsenal is looking solid at the back. I think, tied with City, and they probably have one of the best defensive record right now in the Premier League. Is this going to make the difference against Brighton? Or should Arsenal be worried about Brighton? What's your prediction in this game?
So one of the biggest problems Arsenal have had with Brighton over the last 3 meetings with them, one in the EFL Cup, 2 in the league, has been the absence of grit in midfield. You see Brighton always running riots, as in outpowering the Arsenal midfield. And if Arsenal can stay and match them for pace and physique, I think Arsenal can finally, get a victory over Brighton. In the last 3 games, Festus was kind enough to go the last 5 games. Last 3 games, Arsenal have not picked more than a point against Brighton. We've had 2 losses and 1 draw. And that's terrible statistics. But one of the things that has changed about Arsenal so far, Brighton, they've looked very good. They are sitting 7th in the Premier League table. They are one of those teams that you'll expect to be battling relegations or just be above relegation. But somehow, between last season, for 2 seasons now, they've looked a very, very decent side. They've looked a stubborn side. They are very, very compact. They are very, very stubborn. They add a lot of physicality to the pace in their side, and they got a few players here and there that look very, very good. Good for Arsenal. McAllister isn't going to be playing in this game. He's one of about 3 players. Webster isn't going to be playing in this game. I'm happy that he's not playing. That's another guy who just loves to run and run and run. And sometimes you wonder if he tires at all at any point. But Arsenal have looked very different this season. They've been a totally different side. They've beaten sides that normally they will have crumbled against. The game against West Ham was one of such games. They came back from that goal down, and thanks to the support of the fans. You saw when Arsenal considered that penalty, and the penalty was scored by Berama. The entire stadium, immediately the ball went into the back of the net, the entire stadium started singing, chanting Arsenal, Arsenal. The support grew. And you see, the boys did not stop doing what they were doing because the goal came from against a run of play. Nketiah, good for us. Yes, Jesus is not playing still. Nketiah is there. He loves to score against Brighton. Remember in the EFL Cup that we lost, the Arsenal's only goal, he was the one who scored it. He enjoys a game against physical players, and that's one of the things I've realized about him. But I think Arsenal will win this one. I think we're going to see probably a 2-1 or a 3-1 victory for Arsenal away from home. So I'm predicting a 2-1 victory for Arsenal in this one.
Yeah, so I think the sentiment here is good. This is going to be a very difficult game. I'm going to come to you, Femi. Chris Sutton was predicting for the BBC, and he said that he is expecting a 2-1 victory to Brighton. So I think people are out there also echoing the sentiments that this might be a very difficult game for Arsenal. I mean, Welbeck has scored 4 in his last 5 games against Arsenal. So, that's something that Arsenal needs to be, aware of. And without Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah did well to get on the score sheet. So I'm going to come to you, Femi, because Femi is not a fan of Eddie Nketiah. What's going to be the difference for Arsenal? Who's going to provide the goals? And will Brighton prove a tougher opposition for Arsenal to overcome?
Khalid made a lot of good points, and I think it's a very good question you ask as well. And I'll go back to the last loss we had when we lost 2-1 to them at the Emirates at the close of last season when we were gunning for that top 4. We unfortunately had Partey out in that game, so it was Sambi Lokonga. Also, we had Xhaka at left back. In that game, there was no Tierney. And if you look at the forward line as well, Lacazette was leading it, but Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and Saka were the guys in between who were rampant. But we lost with Smith Rowe, I think around the 60th minute or so in the game. So Nketiah had to come on, and we lost all our energy and everything in terms of the cohesion that we should have had. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a very cohesive team, to be fair. And if you've got Sambi in the middle, it's not as strong as you would have in terms of Partey being there. So is it going to be an easy game? Absolutely not. So your question is very good. Would they prove a tough opposition? Yes, they will. I worry about Nketiah away from home. At home, when he's very comfortable at the Emirates. He scores a lot of goals at the Emirates. Away from home, he doesn't have the power to hold up play to keep the ball, get other people involved. That's why I would like to see Martinelli at number 9 without Jesus there. At home, you can have Nketiah there, but I worry about Nketiah's ability to hold up the ball away from home and be that guy that gives you that breathing space. But overall, because of the solidity of the team at the minute, the confidence they have, and the fact that our backline is really more assured than they used to be, I'm a little confident that we might just nick this by 2-1. So I'll probably go with Kali's final prediction of 2-1 instead of he was thinking 3-1. I think 3-1 will be a big ask.
So I'm going to predict an Arsenal victory of 2-1. I think everyone is absolutely right. I expect that, it's going to be a very tight game. Maybe there might be no goals in the first half, and it comes down to the second half, which team wants it more. I suspect that Brighton have it in them to score, and most likely might score a goal. I just feel that Arsenal understand the job at hand right now. And with City playing before Arsenal, I think Arsenal will know that they need to get a win out of Brighton. So let's quickly go into our last game of the prediction. And actually, this game is one that is very interesting. So Tottenham play Aston Villa. Now, Tottenham has been a very inconsistent team, but they still sit in 4th position in the Premier League table. They seem to be a second half team, and they seem to only score their goals after the halftime whistle has been blown. So I'm going to start with you, Femi, on this game. Tottenham, going into this game against Aston Villa, would we see a different Tottenham, or do we expect the same inconsistent Tottenham against Aston Villa?
Well, I expect the same inconsistent team, because the last games they've won and lost and won and lost and won, and they were meant to lose to Brentford the last time, but they pulled out a draw there. So they've been winning and losing. It should be their turn to win now, but since they didn't lose the last time, I think the stats, if we go with Festus's statistical analysis, they should be back to losing this time around. So, but I mean, in all seriousness, the reality is this: they're a very inconsistent side. You can't tell what. One thing you know is they're going to fight in the second half. That's the consistency about them. But you can't tell whether it's going to be enough. And I think with Aston Villa coming into their own from the help that they're going to get with Unai Emery, and Emery, even though he left Arsenal under very cloudy circumstances, he would very much remember that he still owes us a favor. So I hope he remembers that favor as well and lines his team up properly. What I think will be the biggest factor will probably be the Unai Emery factor for Villa, because he knows how to set up a team properly, and I hope they can fight. But inside of me, I know deep down that Spurs are going to hedge this. So I'm going to be frank and say I see a 2-1 Spurs victory. But anything that Villa take away from that game should be a bonus for everybody.
I'm going to predict a 2-0 victory for Tottenham for this game.
All right, Festus, let's hear from you. Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa, the new White Hart Lane. That's at the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Do you think Aston Villa in any way have a chance?
Yeah, they do. They do have a chance. Like Femi said, Unai's entrance into that team has actually solidified them and given them a new purpose. We could see the last few matches they've played, we could all see the renewed vigor and the energy around the team. So Femi, unfortunately, you said unfortunately the bookmakers are actually proving you wrong.
Really?
Yes, from what you said is their turn to lose, but the bookmakers are saying it is actually Tottenham's win they predicted, and the margins are actually high. They are looking at Tottenham winning about 58% and Aston Villa 19%. That's a whole lot.
So I wasn't looking at it from a structured point of view. I was talking about the results that Spurs have been having in the last 5-6 games. They've been winning and losing, winning and losing.
All know they've been inconsistent. Anything can still happen. And
but that's why I gave them the victory as well.
Remember,
so
the statistics
you're absolutely right.
Based on Tottenham's results over time. But remember, when a new manager comes, you throw those statistics go up, because this is a different team. You can't actually predict what happens at this point, because this is a different team altogether. And at this point in time, anything can happen. I want to predict, for me, I predict a slight victory for Tottenham. I think they will edge it a bit. So I'm looking at 3-2 in this match.
Fantastic.
Interesting times, yeah. But I think in the last 12 attempts, Aston Villa have only beaten Spurs twice. The remaining 10 times, Spurs have actually not drawn, but beaten Aston Villa. So Aston Villa is that, regardless of who is managing Aston Villa or who is managing Spurs, I think it's a tie that Tottenham Hotspur love to play. And that's going to be one of the biggest problems. Yeah, Unai Emery is back in the side, but the last game I saw them play, I didn't see anything. I didn't see them give Liverpool a fight. I didn't see they were shipping in goals under their last former manager, talking about Steven Gerrard, but they've not mopped that up. They've not shown signs of discipline, the ability to keep a very, very good line. They've not shown the coordination that will see them stop shipping in goals. And against a Tottenham Hotspur side with Harry Kane, who the spotlight is permanently on him because he's in a team that is underachieving, and they feel like he should be scoring goals for fun every season and should be winning trophies. I see Tottenham Hotspur totally destroying this Villa side, because the Villa side lacks character. They lack, and it's going to take a while for Emery's tactics to work in that team, no matter what he's doing. And he will need to buy, he will need to strengthen. They can't continue to rely on Tyrone Mings at the back. They need to shore up that midfield. If Douglas Costa isn't playing, they look very ordinary a lot of times, and that's something they need to sort out. So I'm going for a Tottenham Hotspur win in this one. I think Tottenham Hotspur will win this one 3-1 at the least.